Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen, I did not expect this absolutely at all. This is kind of crazy. We have a new banning. We have actually two new banned cards, one of which is going to make you probably cheer and celebrate. The other one, I bet you may have some mixed reactions on, but I'll tell you why I think it's generally a positive that it happened, even though I'm a little bit mixed on it as well. Let's talk through it. Okay, so we have a banning of, I'll just get right to it, Seeds of Agony. Seeds of Agony is no longer in the game, basically. It is banned in Classic Constructed and it is banned in Blitz. And the reason it's banned is exactly listed right here. They looked at, Legend Story Studios, of course, looked at Road to Nationals, and they looked at how the Calling Las Vegas played out, and they saw the proliferation and the domination of Chain in the meta, and they said, how can we help fix this? And their answer came to Seeds of Agony. And Seeds of Agony is incredibly powerful. It's one of the most powerful cards in the deck because it does everything. It can be played from Banished. It threatens 2 forms of damage. It can be pitched away late game. It can be fetched with other cards, one of which they mention actually right here, Unhallowed Rites. It can literally do everything. It can turn on arcane damage effects. It makes your opponent pitch cards out of their hand to prevent that arcane damage rather than block with it. It's so good. And so they said, we're going to look at this and we're going to watch it. And they've realized that over the course of this Classic Constructed format and this metagame, that Seeds of Agony is just too good. It's just too powerful. It does too much. It warps the metagame in Chain's favor so much that we're just going to move on from it so that we can have a more positive, healthy metagame overall. And it's going to work. It is 100,000% going to work. By taking Seeds of Agony out of Chain's hands, all of a sudden, every single Chain player has to revisit the deck build and revisit how Chain is going to play without Seeds of Agony. You're taking out 9 cards out of that deck. You're taking out a linchpin strategy of dealing multiple forms of damage that you can play late game after you load up your Banished Zone. And now you have to revisit how in the world you're going to play Chain and how it can still go toe-to-toe with the best decks in the format, because it used to just be straight up be the best deck in the format, period, end of story, even though Tyler Horsepool absolutely just wrecked a bunch of Chains. Wrecked Chains 7 times on his way to lifting the winner's trophy, as they point, which is cool. It's cool that Control Prism was able to do that, and it was teched so heavily towards playing against Chain and just outlasting Chains. Now I think that deck twists and turns a little bit and looks at the meta and goes, how do I have to pivot now? I think Aggro Katsu is going to become a lot more powerful because Aggro Katsu was already pretty good against Chain, but now because Aggro Katsu can avoid having to really worry about that split damage from Chain, it can look at its other matchups and kind of try to just muscle its way over the top on those. You're going to see decks that couldn't necessarily go toe-to-toe with Chain on its like power level now be able to come forward a little bit. Chain's going to come down a little bit, and it's all very interesting. I do also want to point this out. They dropped this little piece of knowledge in here. The last Blitz season was Skirmish Season 2, and Chain was really good. He was the 2nd best performing hero. Now that people have mastered Chain, he's going to be really good if we don't do something. So we're going to ban Seeds in Blitz, and we're going to ban Seeds in Classic Constructed. By the way, also, Skirmish Season 3 is going to start in November. I did not know about this. Did I miss this announcement that Skirmish Season 3 is coming? Because if I did, now we know. There it is, Skirmish Season 3. So that also means, by the way, in November, we're going to have a shift back to Blitz, which is going to be a lot of fun. Blitz was sort of the on the menu. Blitz was on the menu for Skirmish Season 1 and 2, which sort of ran back to back. And now we've had this big shift back to the premier format of the game of Flesh and Blood, which is Classic Constructed, and we've been here for a while talking about Chain and a variety of other decks, and now we're going to shift back to Blitz, which is fun. To me, that feels much more in line with what I think Legend Story Studios should be aiming for. A nice balance between the faster format of Blitz and the premier format of Classic Constructed. So either way, Seeds is gone. Goodbye, Seeds. no one, well, I don't know. There's a lot of chain players out there, so chain players will misuse seeds, and they'll have to rebuild from there. I also want to point you to this. Why now Tales of Aria might fix it. They say, we expect the ice mechanics to be an effective combat against chain, but we don't think it's going to do enough, so we're going to ban Seeds of Agony, which is kind of funny. Also, this is really smart, and this is the reason why I think we're going to talk about the next card and as a positive in general. We want to give players as much time as possible to prepare for the national championships, and if we ban this now instead of halfway through the national championship season, then we can give players that appropriate time to prep. That, I think, is the key for what we're about to look at as well. We feel that the options are to act now or not until championships have concluded. They don't want to act halfway through, and they don't want to act after championships are all wrapped up, all said and done, because they want the metagame to be fun. They want the metagame to be varied. And so if they want that, then they have to get rid of this card. And that is a very valid point. And it's one that we'll talk about when we come down to the next card that they banned. So before we get to that, I want you can read this. I'm going to put a link to this exact article in the comments section, or I'll put it in the description as well. Either way, you can find it down there. Maybe I'll even make it pop up as a card. I could implement the card thing. It's really interesting to read through this. Basically, they say that they were focused very heavily on booster draft as far as chain is concerned, at the cost of Classic Constructed, which to me seems a little bit weird because Classic Constructed is their premier format. I feel as though they should be tuning everything to Classic Constructed and then moving towards those other ancillary formats. And yes, booster draft and sealed are sort of those tentpole formats, but so is Blitz. And if Classic Constructed stands above all of them, that's where you probably should start and then work backwards from that. This is also interesting. I do find this very intriguing. They could have done 3 intellect. They could have done less than 40 or 20 health. They could have done no arsenal. They could have done a variation on his ability. All of this was very interesting. It's just straight up, they just decided to ban seeds instead. Anyway. Oh, this is all. I'll let you read that on your own. Why ban cards when there's Living Legend? Well, why wait if you want to change it now? This is what I want to talk about now. Duskblade. They have banned a card in Tales of Aria. Tales of Aria releases on Friday. It's before the release date. And so when you open up your packs of Tales of Aria, I will open up a lot of packs of Tales of Aria. We're going to come across Duskblade, and that card will now be banned. And the reason that that's kind of a weird thing is because this is the first time they've ever banned a card preemptively before the set drops. Now, of course, the game is 2 years old as of next month, and so there's not a lot of precedent for this happening before because the game is still so young, and the company is still small, and you know what? They owned up to the mistake. They call this card a mistake. Duskblade is a mistake. I do want to say that it makes absolutely no sense in this set, and they even acknowledge that it makes no sense. It is not part of the core elemental theme of the set. They put it in for its flavor into this set. It was added late in the development. Yeah, that screams to me that this was definitely the mistake that they called it. If they're putting that card in because, you know, it's like a nice little homage to Monarch, as the light versus the shadow, which it is. It's the foil for Dawnblade, which is clever because like foil and epee and like rapier, like you get the picture. It's a pun. I get that. They like we want to kind of do an homage and connect those two sets together because they do in a lot of ways feel like their own unique sets that don't really collide very much. So this is a way for them to combine those sets, or at least reference the sets together. That being said, it makes no sense in an elemental set. It's a Runeblade card. It's not even an elemental Runeblade card, so technically anyone could play it. Any Runeblade could play it. So I don't know why it's in this set. Nevertheless, they talk about how it's going to be just an absolute powerhouse as far as when it goes up into Classic Constructed control matchups, because the Duskblade basically invalidates control strategies and can gain just 1 billion counters. Because again, you don't lose counters on Duskblade. I'll say it this way, you only lose counters if you don't play a non-attack and an attack action card. And yes, if your opponent is stripping cards from your hand, then they could take all the counters as well. But if you manage to work out to where you can play a non-attack and an attack, and then just sit back, you can build up a ton of counters, making this like some crazy 8, 10, 12 attack weapon once per turn action. Pay 1 resource to attack for 12. And in those matchups, this just kills control. And so, again, it goes back to this idea of like, we have national championship season coming up. It's going to run in 25 countries. We want it to be varied. We're going to ban seeds. We want it to be fun. We want it to be a situation where you could probably try to play just about anything and try to find success. If we don't ban this card, then we're going to see another meta warping type card be out there in the wild. We're going to see all of those things that we want be squashed down, and we'll see basically what we saw in the previous meta, or in the current meta, I should say. And so instead of allowing that to happen or banning this halfway through after you've tested with this and found that Duskblade is really good, in their opinion, we're just going to stop that, cut it off right now, and ban it preemptively. And again, I think banning things preemptively is not, just in general, it's not good. You should not allow yourself to do this, but it's not a perfect world that we live in, and this is a company that realizes that they made a mistake, apologizes for it, bans the card, and focuses solely on allowing players to play the game and play in a varied and fun meta, rather than just saving face, not making this ban announcement, waiting for players to realize this card is overpowered and meta warping, watch it warp the meta, and then ban it after the fact, and then admit that you had a problem. Rather than doing that, they're doing exactly what they probably should do, and they are saying, this is going to be a problem. We don't want it to be a problem for you. We apologize that we printed it in this set. It was a mistake, and we're going to stop it from becoming an issue. They do also say this. I will say this. This is very interesting. They only ban it for Classic Constructed. They did not ban this for Blitz. And because they didn't ban it for Blitz, you can still play this card. And that, to me, is perhaps the biggest upside, the biggest saving grace, is that you can still take this and get this to the table in Blitz, where they say that the nature of the format leads to shorter games because you have less health and there's more top-performing aggro and combo decks. And so if that's the case, you can still play your Duskblade. And not only can you still play it, you can play it in Skirmish Season 3, which starts in November. That's like 2 months away, so don't feel too bad. Just know that you can't play it in Classic Constructed, where we don't want it to do damage. So I think overall, because of those considerations, because of the way that they approached this whole apologetic process, and because they only banned it in one format and not 2, at least right now, there's cause to be happy about this. Overall, you can still be sad that you're not going to play this in Classic Constructed, but the card is not completely removed in every format before it even comes out, and you can still take it to the table. If you have a cold foil version that you pull in your box, you can still be happy about it, and you can say, hey, I'll try this in Briar, even though thematically it doesn't make any sense. I'll try it in Briar, and I will do that in Blitz and see how it fares. So overall, that is an interesting little positive. I also want to point this out before we wrap up. They do say that they will possibly revisit these cards and review these cards in the future to see if they need to be or could be unbanned so that more people can enjoy them in more formats. Do I ever think that they're going to unban Seeds? Probably not. They're never going to unban Drone of Brutality, and they're probably not going to unban Duskblade. In fact, actually, that's not true. They could actually print a card or a type of card that can remove counters from something. It would be a little bit of like a bad feel, like a feels bad kind of thing, because you could take the counters off of Dawnblade, you could take counters off of Tunic, things like that. But they could print that, and if they do, then Duskblade could make its way into Classic Constructed. So there is an out for a card like Duskblade. Is there an out for Seeds of Agony? Probably not. But do we care? Probably not. So anyway, this is a really crazy announcement. I was not expecting to make this video. I was gonna make a combo video, and instead I'm making a banned and restricted announcement video, and I'm posting it the same day as another video. That seems like a bad idea, but this is really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it, and as always, everybody, thanks for watching.